Alright, it's Zhen Zhen here, and for today's topic, we're gonna talk about no down payment for your property. This is, for example, you want to go and purchase a property, especially for land deal, so that you only can get the loan from the bank is about 70%, but you still lack of 30% that you need to put the down payment, or you want to purchase a property, but you still lack of any down payment. So actually, this come to this book, you can use one method, which means is OPM, which means is other people money when you come into investing in real estate. So this is a very interesting way when you invest in real estate. So when we talk about no need down payment, right? Then actually there's few creative way you can look at and you can consider it. And let's straight to the point and we talk about it. So the first method, actually you can talk with the seller, because the seller can help you finance your purchase. Because you need to remember that, especially in now is the buyer market, so that you can have more seller and you can go and negotiate with the seller, because the seller actually they want to sell the property. So you can go and talk about negotiate about the things that you can financing with the seller, because always remember that there's a normal way when we talk about go and purchase with loan with the bank, everything else. But always remember, law actually is dead, then humans are alive. So we are human. So everything you can be changed and can be do in a creative way. You go and look at it, because law is written by people also. So when we talk about seller, when for example estate with a case is, especially when you go and buy a piece of land, but you only get the loan from a bank is about 70%, but you still lack of 30% that you need to pay to the seller. So you can negotiate with the seller so that they can let the seller loan you from you. For example, you loan from bank 70%, the other 30% you loan from the seller, so you pay back for the seller. This is the first method you can consider. This is what we talk about the seller part. And then the other method is when the seller property is actually got any broken, any roof want to repair, everything else. So that if the seller want to repair for you, actually you can come out talk with them, you can come up with the credit first, so that after that you repair it yourself. Okay, so the other method is lease option. Actually later we will talk detail about what meaning is lease option. And then the other method, you can trade anything with the seller also. So when you will go and purchase the property, and actually the property itself can help you finance your purchase. So especially if we talk about land deal, for example, and you're gonna know that some minerals or the trees, anything rubber trees, everything else, that actually that thing can make money, or the sand at the deal at that land, so that you can sell the sand, sell the trees, everything else, so you can get the cash also. This is one method also you can consider. But when you want to do this method, actually you need to do the valuation first. You need to know the value of the property, and for this method you want to know the valuation. Actually you can ask the real estate agent or real estate broker, or you can ask valuer, and you need to know your property before you move on to do this type method. And the other method is you can consider is you can find a partner that you and him or her together buy a property. For example, is your credit is cannot approve, and then you find a person have a better credit score, together buy a property. But before you find a partner, what we call, or an investor together invest with you with a property, you need to find the person actually is want to invest, not just lend you the money. So you can together and then work on it and then invest in the property. So that partner that you want. But when we come about partnership, everything's before you start, you need to make sure all the agreement, everything else need to write an agreement. And especially you need to consult with any expert or consult with lawyer, so that you can came up with the agreement. So everything else you need to talk with your partner, came up with the everything in written form. This will avoid anything conflict happen after that. So this is the method you can consider also. So the other methods, the next method is you can borrow the broker or real estate agent commission, because when we're reading this book, it's from US. Actually the agent have the seller agent or buyer agent, or the agent actually is then seller and the buyer also. So in US actually you can collect commission up to 6%, but in Malaysia actually the agent actually can just collect the maximum from the seller is only 3%, but you still can work on it. You can negotiate with the real estate agent or real estate broker so that you can came up a win-win situation with them, because after that they will get a commission also. But actually if you meet the real estate agent or real estate broker, actually you need to find that agent that actually have the same mindset of investing with you, so that easily for you to go and move on and work it. And after that, if for example if yourself, your own service, your own skill, your resource also can be, for example if you are a contractor, so you want to buy a piece of land or a piece of property, but the property already broken or anything else, so need to know some renovation, so that you can straight away go and tell the seller that you can do it by your own, but first you need to negotiate with them about the repair credit first, so that at closing can be enough to cover the down payment. So this is a method you can use your own resource. For example, is the normal method is if you have some boat, car, jewelry, 401ks, EPF, KWSP, or even to insurance you can take out for your down payment also. This is the method. But everything you want to do about this type of financing, you need to consult with a better person first, or be an expert financial advisor or an accountant before you move on, because you need to know the specific. Then the other part is you can do your actual asset to go and trade with the seller also. For example, you have current smaller one property, but you want to purchase a bigger one property, but the seller also interested in your current property, so you can trade it. So you can use your property as a down payment after you go and loan, so you can trade with the seller also. This is the method also you can go and look at. So let's come with the most timeless technique of all. What we call just now is the lease option, which means when we talk about lease option is you go and rent from the seller first, but you already set a period of time, for example 5 years. After that you reach your term 5 years, and then you purchase with the seller with this kind of price you already set with the current and future market. This is the method what we call about lease option. You lease first, after that you can go when reach the term of the lease or rent it, so after that you purchase straight away from the seller. So actually when we talk about lease option, actually they have many benefits. Let's talk about the benefit of the buyer first. When we talk about buyer, the risk is low and the financing leverage can be high, because this will just depends on the seller, because it's not care about your credit score, not care about a rating bank. So the risk is low, so that the financial rate is very high. Then the next benefit for buyer is the buyer will receive control and possession of the property, because we got any contract of it. And then it will be a very little or no initial closing cost when we talk about no need down payment also, because this is a term that you rent, after that you own. And for the buyer also is can walk away from the contract if the value of the property in the future that not what is stated in the agreement, so that you can still move on. That's the exit method. So there's benefit for the buyer, and the benefit for the seller, the agreed upon price of the property is frequent at the top at its current market value range, meaning that the agreement actually is set will be much top in the value market price That's the method that you set in your agreement. So the option money that seller receive is tax deferred until exercise or expired, which means that no tax need to pay first at all, but you can be a long term after that, then you pay the tax. And the next is for the seller, the option is forfeit if the rent is not paid on time. For example, it's the buyer that you already do the lease option, but they didn't pay their rent, so the seller will get forfeit all the option that before already paid. And the next is the seller received all the equity built up on the mortgage during the option period. So the equity built up is by the seller they can receive. Then the next is the tenant has pride of ownership and therefore an incentive to take good care of the property. So the tenant after that, when seller they use the method of lease option, so the buyer will take care of the property because already think about owned by them. And then the rent, including the amount, if any, that is applicable to the option purchase price, is at the top above the fair market rental range, meaning that the rentals, the market, the value, you can stay at higher price. So the next is the ability to regain possession and control of the property in event of the optionee without emitting in the term of the agreement. Everything you can be taught and can be adjusted actually. For all this method is you're going to work with a lawyer, experienced lawyer, so that you can move on everything, you can change. And then this is the benefit we can list out. When we talk about lease option, the contract we can written is actually can be played with many methods. For example, if you want to go and lease the property from the seller, after you lease and then you rent from the seller, then you rent it out to another person also. This is what we call sandwich. This also you can play around with. And then the other method is you can lease option with the seller first, you lease and then you pay the rental after that, but you can still at the same time you find another buyer, you can sell it. So what we call, you can earn money from this. Then the next is you can positioning your property to sell to other people, or you can still rent to other person. So this is the thing that you can pair up with the lease option. Everything you just in the contract you can play around so that you can use this method to get the profit and get more money. Then when we talk about this concept you already have, but you need to put into action. So when you want to go and move on, the better you need to have a better negotiation skill, which means that everything you can communicate, so that you must have a better communicate. There's some tips you can follow when you want to do some negotiate. Always use seller's name in conversation, which means that you tell the person, like for example, what is your name? So you always talk about their names, because people when you talk to their name, they more prefer to communicate with you. There's the skill you can look at. Then for something you need to avoid is you don't be too critical, or don't want to be more criticism or harsh criticism, criticize the property that you just want to lowering the price. No, like that. You need to be very have the rapport standard, so you have your trust building together, and you need to listen also to the seller, that what they want, what already their concern, be emotionally, and you need to know their situation, everything else. So you also can using some non-essential contingency, which means that something that you can give away, or he can give away, or her can give. So you can come out negotiate with the win-win situation. And when you go and negotiate, actually, better you come up with multiple option, which means that not just you can give some cash offer, get some discount price, or an offer that incorporate rates, seller financing, you can pay them some interest, everything else, or a lease social, make sure all amounts are clearly stated so that you know the numbers. Everything else must in the written form before you go and move on. Or you want to make your deal more simple and easy, you can work on with real estate agent or real estate broker, which means that people have experience or have a same mindset with you to know about the investing, so that they can help you go and negotiate. So this will save you a lot of effort and the time for you if you can leverage on them. So there's some do's and don'ts when you come to negotiate with the deals. When the do's that you need to do is you must keep an open mind. Everything you need to know is everything can be changed, everything can be negotiated, so you can come up with a flexible way when talk about. And the second do is you need to write down your goals. When you want to do something, you're gonna have a target. If you want to target for 1 million or 100 million or a billion, so you have your goal, you're gonna write it down, and then you're gonna keep focused because it will make you accountable. And then the other part is you need to commit yourself for 100%. You want to investing in real estate, that you need to achieve your goal so that you can become financial freedom. There's those that you need to know. So there's a don't do. What you don't want to do is listen to naysay, which means that the negative people, they tell you cannot do it, everything else. That's what you don't. Actually, you listen to the experienced people or the people already at their state, or an investor you can be. So the other part is don't be afraid to fail, because in real estate investing, actually you will face a lot of deal, everything else. You need to look at it. So everything you feel forward, because life is not how hard you hit, is how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So when you want to find a great deal, actually you need times and need to again and find out a great deal. So the last thing you don't need to do is get emotional about the property. You need to all in number form, because when you come into investing, if you're too emotional about the property, that that property is much more pretty, everything else, so but they already overpriced or everything else, you need to take out of your emotion and then just look at the numbers and the value rating. So this is, you need to be careful. And then the other part is you need to know that the wave of the future. When you invest in real estate, actually you need to, for the long term, you need to know, because in real estate investing, from this book, actually they have some idea for you when market is good, so that you can consider flipping strategies. But when the market is low, that's better you buy and hold strategies. For example, is for long time ago, maybe the more people that they want to buy property, but in a market that has less property. But when you came into shift market, in the market there's a lot of property, but less buyer go and buy it. So if this method is better, you consider buy and hold or renting for someone. But all this depends on you also, because when we come to investing in real estate, actually people need real estate. Actually, no matter how the market is high, is in a good market or in a bad market, people still need real estate for live, or they need to rent the real estate. So the market will still go and move on, but in your way is how you go and play with it, and then how you go and study the market. It's all depend on you. So if you want to find some property or anything else, actually you can go some internet platform and go and survey and do some research. So that's better. Always remember, the more you learn, the more you earn. So when after I'm sharing all about this, I hope you much more know about this, and success in your future. Bye.